Hey there, this is Dr. Evan Osar. Happy Friday. Hope you've had a great week and your weekend, or you're getting ready to start your weekend. I've got 3 quick things for you today. Number 1, thanks for being part of our community. Sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't, but I want to let you know that I'm always thinking about how appreciative we are for having you as part of our community. We appreciate the idea or the concept or the reality that you allow us to share this information with you. You use this information with your clients and you give us feedback to how it's working or not working. And we truly appreciate all that you do as health and fitness professionals for your clientele and for allowing us to share this information and be part of our community as well. Hey, 2 of my good friends that are part of our community, Sue Gleason, thanks so much for being on and thanks for being part of our IMS community. Rahul as well, how are you, my friend? From India, part of our community as well. And of course, my best friend, Pete. How are you, buddy? Good to have you on. So number 1, thank you. Truly appreciate you. Oh, and Stephen Schmoll, another IMS professional. Thank you for being part of our community and allowing us to share this information and in turn, sharing this information with your clientele. Number 2, one of the things we have coming up, is a brand new program on breathing. Now, you've heard me talk about breathing quite a bit. And one of the things that people, your clients, will often ask you is, why do we need to breathe? Why do we need to use breath as an exercise or include breath so much as exercise? Let me share a quick story with you. Brand new client that just moved back to the Chicagoland area, and he's been struggling with some hip issues as well as low back. He's a CrossFitter. So again, if you know CrossFit, these guys and gals, they train hard. Now, unfortunately, he's been dealing with some setbacks along the way, and he'd been seeing a physical therapist before he came out, seen many physical therapists, and still struggling with these issues. So one of the first things we do, or one of the first things I did with him, is again, look at the alignment of his rib cage over top his pelvis. Because again, the cylinder alignment is important. It's not the most important for every single person. However, it's important because the cylinder, the rib cage over top the pelvis, that thoraco-pelvic cylinder, is the foundation for how you're going to move your extremities. It's the foundation or the basis for those myofascial chains that cross and attach the contralateral limbs. And also come on, Dr. Osar, come on. the lateral myofascial chains that connect the shoulder and the hip as well. Had a little brain halt there. So yeah, so the foundation is incredibly important to function. One of the things that we saw with this individual is he had 2 prior surgeries on his shoulder. His shoulder on his left side, very compressed. What happens with shoulder compression, and you can do this on your own, put your right hand on the right side of your thorax. Now compress your left side down, your left shoulder down. And if you look, you can see in the screen, as I compress my left shoulder down, what it does is because the shoulder has such broad attachments from your latissimus dorsi to the traps, the mid and lower traps. These are all serratus anterior to a certain extent as well. These are all very powerful compressors. So when you compress down on one side, it will tend to shift you to the other side. Now, his primary complaint, he's got several complaints, but his primary complaint is right-sided hip issues. If you think about this, put your hand on your right side again, compress down on your left side, you can feel how your center of mass will actually shift to your opposite side, generally speaking. Now, you could shift this way and just hang out over here. Most people won't do that because their center of mass would shift over to their left side. They will move something over to their right side to get their center of mass back to the center in between their feet. So 2 surgeries on his left side caused some overcompression on that left side, has shifted him over to his right side, and now his right hip is taking a part of that brunt of that strategy. So one of the first things we're doing with him is to help him do the release so that he can actually release that shoulder, release his rib cage, the intercostals, the lats, the serratus to a certain extent as well, and center that cylinder, and then teach him a 3-dimensional breathing strategy so that he's able to use the cylinder, maintain the cylinder in a more optimal alignment, but then use that diaphragm as well as the other muscles around, the other primary muscles of respiration, use that diaphragm like a primary piston inside the cylinder that helps to mobilize the organs, it helps to mobilize the internal fascia, it helps to mobilize, as you start breathing in a more efficient manner, it mobilizes the myofascial structures, all those oblique chains and lateral chains and and the sort of the lateral chain as well, as I mentioned, these chains start to become a bit more flexible. So you're using that three-dimensional breathing strategy as a mobilization strategy as well. So that's the primary strategy. Now, it doesn't mean we don't need to address that right hip. It doesn't mean we don't need to address more specifically the left shoulder. But without that foundation, it's going to be hard for him to develop the scapular stability he needs to do overhead lifting as well as planks and things like that. It's going to be hard for him to develop the hip stability if his pelvis is continually shifted over to his right. He's going to keep overloading that right side. So again, this does not mean this works for every single person with this issue, but it's just to illustrate how compression on one side and how the shoulder can change the alignment of the rib cage, change the alignment of the cylinder, change how we're breathing, and ultimately set us up for some chronic issues. So I'll keep you posted about his progress. His goal is to get back to CrossFit, so we want to help him get back to that strategy. But right now, as I shared with him, and this is another important piece, is the importance of the process. And one of the things we teach our clients, or we share with our clients, is you have to trust the process. And again, I'm not saying I can fix everybody and I have a solution for every single person, but you have to trust the process so that we can progress you appropriately. And if you don't trust the process and you're trying to add things in, because your clients come to you, they're reading Dr. Google, they're listening to their friends and colleagues. I had the same thing, so I did this and this worked. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't work. So we teach our clients, trust the process, allow us time to realign you, reteach you a more optimal three-dimensional breathing strategy, give you the right progressions so you start to build up the endurance, maintaining that alignment, three-dimensional breathing strategy, maintaining that motor control, an improved motor control strategy, then start building in the patterns that will help to reinforce that, and then keep progressing you towards your ultimate goal or his ultimate goal of getting back to CrossFit. And again, it's likely how you think about and work with your client, but I just wanted to give you into the context of how do you work with somebody that wants to perform and is looking for, that's his primary goal. He's like, I want to do CrossFit in a year from now. I want to be that 70-year-old guy still working out. So I shared that story with you so you can see, like, yeah, we get those same clients, but it's still important to do the fundamental work, the foundational work that will set them up for success. So I hope that makes sense. So keep doing what you're doing. And Janice shared a story. Lastly, Janice shared a story from one of her clients. Unfortunately, awesome dude. Steve, it was one of Steven's clients as well. He just passed away from stage 4 cancer, just a few years older than me. Very, very sad story. He went very quickly once he was diagnosed. However, at his last visit, he shared with my wife, and this was just about a week or two ago. He's like, you were teaching breath before breath was popular and or trendy. So, we've been doing this for a long time, so we're really attuned to how breath impacts posture and movement. And even up to that final, when he knew it was his time, he was still coming to Janice to have her work on him, and then also for the breath work. When he couldn't make it in because of either quarantine or he just didn't feel good from his chemo treatments or what was going on with his body, he would still call and text, and she would still give him strategies around breath. And almost every single time, it made a difference in his life. So keep doing what you're doing. Remember the impact you can have on people's lives. And he shared a joke, and I really love this statement. So I'm speaking out of context here, sharing Janice's story, but I'll have her come on here and share this story. But the last thing he said to her before the elevator doors closed was like, "You've been a lifesaver." Just as a lifesaver, like from all the things that he'd been through in the past 2 years. And then he sort of dry sense of humor is like, sort of, so that was his personality. Just an awesome dude, really nice guy, and really appreciated all the work that Janice did. And think about your interaction with your clients. You have clients just like this, hopefully not about to pass away or going through a similar situation, but just think about the impact that you have every single day with your clients. And it just reminds me again of that quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson: to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is success. And every single day, my friends, we have the opportunity to go out there and help other people breathe easier just by being there, by being someone who can support them, be empathetic towards them, and give them powerful strategies. So again, that's why I wanted to say thank you in the beginning here, and we truly appreciate you guys being part of our community and allowing us to be part of your community as well. And finally, last thing before I let you guys head out is Happy Father's Day. You know, fathers are a big part of our society. I believe that the lack of fathers in people's lives and families is a big part of what's going on in our culture. I was blessed to be adopted. You know, obviously, I had a father. I was born to a father, but I was adopted by a really amazing man, and you know, he passed away. He passed away in church. You know, he was volunteering at a church, and he passed away. Actually, he had a heart attack in church. So he was where he needed to be. But he really taught me some great lessons. You know, not a perfect man, like none of us are perfect men or individuals, but just awesome dude. Just he raised 6 kids, then adopted 3 more. He probably never made more than $30,000 in his life. Just a hard-working guy who was always working, taught me the importance of hard work, of staying true to who you are, to being honest, to being a God-fearing individual, to supplying, or I should say supporting and supplying for your family, regardless of, you know, being there. My parents stayed married, and even though that there's a lot of challenging times, but just really set a great example for me of what it meant to be a man, to grow up and be respectful towards women and be respectful to each other. And as I mentioned, just be a good individual. So for all your fathers out there that are doing great things, thank you for what you do for our community. Happy Father's Day. And I hope you have the opportunity to share that with your father if he's still alive as well. So thanks again. Happy Father's Day. This is Dr. Evan Osar. Look forward to that breath program coming out probably next week. So thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.